Take a moment to read Unit 1, Lesson 18, Problem 2, Obstacle Course. In this activity, students are asked to use a series of transformations to get an object around an obstacle. The obstacle in this instance is our blue hexagon. Previously, students were given two figures and asked to use transformations to match them up without an obstacle. Students have an opportunity to choose if they would rather use tracing paper or our dynamic software, GeoGebra. Please note that I will be showing you one possible set of transformations, but there are others that will work as well. In this first part of the example, we are given that we want to move ABC on top of DEF. So we are trying to move the blue zigzag to the green zigzag. So again, I'm going to our illustrative math geometry site. This is lesson 18, problem 2. When you're using GeoGebra, there are a lot of tools that we discussed in the other video. Again, you can always click on the tools and they will tell you what is there. So it tells me this is the reflect over a line. I can also use translate. They call it by a vector here. Usually we talk about it as a directed line segment are the words that we typically use. So what we do is let's go ahead and click on translate because I want to slide this over. I want to match up point C and point F. That's going to be my first. Also at the bottom, if you scroll back, it shows you exactly what you have to do. So the first thing you have to do when you do a translation is you have to select what you want to translate. Okay, so I'm just going to click somewhere on this blue segment and it'll highlight the entire shape. Then you want to say what point you want to start at. So I want to start at point C and I want it to end up on point F. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. Notice that behind the scenes, it does move that, and it also puts these apostrophes on it. Those are called primes. That just means that that's our translated or transformed figure. Okay, from here now, since I have one point matched up, I do know that I want to rotate. During class, we've talked about that when we have this dot paper, that these are 60-degree angles that we would want to rotate around. So I'm going to go ahead and click the rotate tool. Again, down here at the bottom, you can see it tells you select the object, rotate it around a center point, and then tell how many degrees the angle is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the object. I want to pick the one that I've already transformed. I want it to have a center of rotation of right here, this C prime. Once I click that, this box automatically comes up, and like I said, we want it to be 60 degrees. And when we do a rotation, we have to decide if we want it to be counterclockwise or clockwise. So I am going to leave it as counterclockwise because I want this to move backwards of the way that a clock moves. So when I choose that, it's going to move it, and you can see now I can no longer see the green line. Okay, and that's really what the goal of this first lesson was. So first I translated using a directed line segment from C to C to F, and then I rotated 60 degrees counterclockwise so that they would map onto each other. They also give us a second example. This time they want us to move GHI to JKL. So notice I'm moving the blue up to the green. And again, there are multiple ways to do this. So let's go ahead and take a look at a way. All right, so again, my goal is to move this blue up to the green. So in this case, I can see that I cannot just translate this up and over a little, because if I were to do that, it's not going to fit in between my two obstacles that I have on this one. So I'm going to have to do a little bit more work. So I do know that I'm going to have to do a rotation. So again, I'm moving this blue one, so I'm going to go ahead and choose the blue. I'm just going to rotate it around this center point H, and I'm going to go 60 degrees, but I want to move it clockwise. The reason being is that I want it to kind of mimic what's happening here, because once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and translate it up, and I see that it's going to miss this obstacle right down here. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my translate. Again, if you forget what they are, you can hover over them, and at the bottom it'll tell you what transformation you can do. And again, I'm going to pick my new blue. Okay, the ones that have the apostrophe, the primes on them. I'm going to say I want to move point H prime up here to point K. Notice that my goal is to get one point together first, then I can worry about the other points. So from here, I can see if I rotate it counterclockwise 60 degrees, it should match up. So again, I'm going to go to my rotate tool. I'm going to click the one that has G double prime. Notice that it has two apostrophes. That's just telling me that this is after my second transformation. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. I'll click on I want to rotate it around H prime, and I want to do 60 degrees, and we said let's take that counterclockwise. And we don't see the green one anymore. So this one, we had to rotate 60 degrees clockwise. We had to translate directed line segment from H prime to K. Then we had to rotate about let me see, I can't remember, K, 60 degrees counterclockwise. The goal of this lesson is really to start preparing the students for when they're going to have to do transformations and talking about different shapes. So this is really important. Sometimes you will hear your teacher say a point-to-point transformation. That means that you're just matching up 1 point, then 2 points, then 3 points.